In 2005, a painting sold at a small auction house in New Orleans for $1,175. 12 years later, the same painting sold for $450 million. That's not an exception. In the art world, it is almost a business model. 20 paintings, 20 prices, and the stories between them. A Russian billionaire paid $120 million for this painting, then sold it for less than 50. His name was Dmitry Rybolovlev. He had been systematically deceived by his own art dealer for over a decade. The painting survived. Rybolovlev's investment did not. This self-portrait was a birthday gift for his mother. He had missed her 70th birthday and could not travel. He shaved his beard to look younger and healthier. He was neither. He died 8 months later. In 1998, it sold for $71 million. The buyer has never been identified. An 88-year-old Austrian woman found this painting too disturbing for her home. She loaned it to a monastery. It hung in a dark corridor for decades, attributed to a minor assistant of Rubens. A Sotheby's expert arrived with a flashlight. The estimate was $8 million. It sold for $76.7, nearly 10 times the estimate. In May 1990, this sold for $82 million, the highest price ever paid for a painting. The buyer announced he would have it cremated with his body. He died in 1996. The painting was not cremated. It has not been seen in public since the auction. The Städel Museum in Frankfurt displayed its empty original frame in 2019. Monet spent the last 30 years of his life painting the same pond in his garden. He designed the garden specifically so he could paint it. By the time he died, he was nearly blind, still painting. This canvas sold for $84 million in 2018. This painting is 550 years old. Nobody knows who the young man is. Painted in Florence in the 1470s, probably for one of the most powerful families in Europe. For centuries it passed between private collectors, barely noticed. In 2021, it sold for $92 million. The young man remains anonymous. In May 2019, a painting of a haystack sold for $110 million, the highest price ever for a Monet. The buyer opened a museum in Potsdam and put it on the wall. In 2022, 2 activists threw mashed potato at the glass. The painting was unharmed and back on display within hours. This painting belonged to Paul Allen, co-founder of Microsoft. When Allen died in 2018, his estate went to auction. Every dollar to charity, his explicit instruction. Van Gogh painted this in the spring of 1888. Allen never sold it in his lifetime. He gave it away. It sold for $117 million. Munch wrote in his diary, "He was walking at sunset when the sky turned blood red and felt an infinite scream passing through nature." The figure in the painting is not screaming. Munch said the scream came from everything around it. In 2012, after 12 minutes of bidding, it sold for $119 million. Seurat died at 31. He had been building this painting for 2 years, dot by dot, a scientific theory of color he had invented himself. After his death, it sold at Christie's in 2022 for $149 million, part of a single-owner auction that raised $1.5 billion, every dollar to charity. The Nazis stole this painting in 1938. After a landmark U.S. court case, it was returned to the family's heir in 2006. At Christie's that November, a buyer entered the bidding at $74 million, signaling she would pay any price. She was Oprah Winfrey, buying anonymously. She paid $87.9 million. 10 years later, she sold it for $150 million, a profit of $62 million, on a painting stolen by the Dmitry Rybolovlev, yes, him again, paid $157 million for this through his dealer Yves Bouvier. He later discovered that Bouvier had acquired it for significantly less and kept the difference. The legal case that followed crossed 6 countries and lasted nearly a decade. When this painting was first shown in Paris in 1917, police shut the exhibition down on opening day. Obscene, they said. Modigliani died 3 years later at 35. Tuberculosis and poverty. In 2015, a Chinese billionaire bought it at Christie's for $170 million. He reportedly paid by American Express for the air miles. The original owner was a Jewish woman named Jenny Steiner. The Nazis seized the painting in 1938. It hung in a Nazi filmmaker's apartment for decades, considered lost. In 2012, it sold for $112 million. Within a year, Bouvier sold it again for $183. Rybolovlev later sold it for $170, a loss of $13 million. This canvas became a key exhibit in the fraud trial. These two paintings have never been separated, not once in nearly 400 years. Commissioned in 1634 as wedding portraits. Him on the left, her on the right. Every owner bought both. In 2015, the Rijksmuseum and the Louvre bought them jointly for approximately $180 million. They still share custody, one painting in each city. This painting spent 400 years in private hands and nearly left Europe forever. When the Rothschilds sold in 2019, France declared it a national treasure and blocked export. The Louvre had 30 months to raise the funds. The Louvre couldn't. The Dutch spent $198 million in public money to bring it home. Anyone can go and see it. This painting hung in a Swiss museum for nearly 50 years on loan. When the owner decided to sell, the museum could do nothing. The price was reported as $300 million. A British court case revealed the actual figure was $210 million, $90 million less than stated. In the art world, even the prices are negotiable. The Lederer family's collection was looted by the Nazis in 1938. This portrait was rescued and returned to the family in 1948. In 1985, Elizabeth's brother sold it to Leonard Lauder, who kept it in his Fifth Avenue apartment for 40 years. In 2025, after 20 minutes of bidding at Sotheby's, it sold for $236 million. Two men playing cards. At the time of its sale, the most expensive painting ever sold. The buyer was the royal family of Qatar, reportedly paying twice the existing world record. Cézanne painted 5 versions of this subject. 4 are in public museums. This one, considered the finest, went to Doha. The exact price was never confirmed. In 2005, this sold in New Orleans for $1,175. Nobody knew what it was. After years of restoration, experts attributed it to Leonardo da Vinci. Some still dispute this today. Rybolovlev paid $127 million. His dealer had told him it was worth $75 to $80. In 2017, after 19 minutes of bidding at Christie's, it sold for $450 million. It has not been seen in public since. "20 paintings. The oldest completed around 1480. The most recent sold in 2025. Between them, theft, obsession, fraud, philanthropy, and the persistent human belief that beauty has a price. It does. Nobody agrees on what it is.